Are you tired of waiting for the next Christmas classic?
Watching the same old movies year after year?
When was the last Christmas classic? Well, wait no further.
Red One is the first Christmas classic in decades! We went into this thing with low expectations. Bottom of the barrel.
Any movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson feels like a cash grab movie. Similar to Borderlands with Kevin Hart.
The ticket guy even stopped us to ask how we were feeling about this one, because he was excited.
And I told him straight up that we were not looking forward to this one.
After leaving the theater, we sought this guy out to tell him we were wrong.
This movie left us with a lot of mixed feelings, as you'll learn throughout this video.
Red One has the potential for this generation to feel like what Elf and the Grinch did for us.
We'll let you know soon if it's worth going to the theaters or not, but first, we're going to continue our discussion spoiler-free.
This was a $250 million movie that wasn't even supposed to hit theaters.
Amazon, who owns MGM, was supposed to bring it straight to Prime.
It's pretty obvious that a good chunk of the budget went to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Easily. Who in classic Rock fashion, overhyping his movie, called it the next Oppenheimer. I really thought that Chris Evans was going to carry this movie. But the word out there is that The Rock likes having in his contract that he's the lead actor no matter what, which suffocates Chris's performance, which we'll go into more detail later.
Surprisingly, this movie finds a way to overcome that. There's a lot of fun and action in this movie, which is thanks to the special effects department and the supporting actors, to an unexpected visit from Krampus.
But back to the question, should you go see this in theaters?
I say no. We knew this movie wasn't meant for theaters, and we know that Amazon likes to put their movies on their platform about a month after it's been released. And I'm betting that this will be on there before Christmas, so you should wait for streaming.
But I say go. As we've said before, there hasn't been a Christmas classic in decades. And when will be the next time that you'll get the opportunity to see something like this in theaters again? So go see it and take your kids.
Spoiler section! If you want to remain spoiler-free, then go ahead and like and subscribe so you can come back after seeing the movie.
There are three main things that we want to talk about. But before we get to those, there are several other things before that we want to mention because we don't have time.
Santa loves Philly!
There's a ghost piano!
Lots of green screen.
And what really made us uncomfortable was the unnecessary objectification of women.
But the first thing we do want to talk about is Santa's operation.
I really like that they had giant reindeer. Fun fact, I learned that female reindeer can have antlers.
And I told them. The North Pole wasn't just one house or place where Santa lived. It was an entire city full of life and even remnants of Santa's old operation. And in the factory itself, you see that the elves have learned to shrink all of the presents down to these tiny little packages that are then loaded into these big barrels onto Santa's sleigh.
And my favorite part about Santa's sleigh is the aerial refueling that they do to refill the packages. I thought that was clever.
It's very interesting to see in Christmas movies how things differ in Santa's workshop and how the elves work, and this is a pretty unique way.
But where this movie falls short is that we feel like that the characters and all the acting just was really incohesive. One of the most obvious examples is when you see Nick Kroll's character on the beach and he's possessed by the witch. And while he's possessed, the witch is talking in one mannerism while he's talking in a completely different mannerism. The two did not line up at all, and it was painfully bad. And when the snowmen came, they emphasized to keep Nick's character safe. They said, don't let him get frozen. And then he got frozen. And then nothing happened. Didn't make sense. And Jack's character, they set him up in the beginning to be this bad guy, this hacker, this gambler. And you see a little bit of that in the beginning of the movie, but the rest of the movie, he doesn't do any of that at all, ever. And when he's trapped in the snow globe, they emphasize him as being level 4 naughty. Apparently that's really bad. But as long as he told his son that, I love you, suddenly he's a good guy. And all of his history of hacking didn't matter at all.
The Rock's character Cal is equally cringeworthy, but he does it often enough that it kind of circles back to being funny, but in a very meta way. He's very stiff and rigid. Classic The Rock acting, just being himself again. His character also had a really weird quirk. They set up the premise that the animals around him really like him. Like, really, really like him. The reindeer, and notably a chicken later on that he kind of flirts with. It's a little uncomfortable. But I also think that it's kind of safe to say that his character Cal might fuck animals. Think about it. Later they meet Krampus, who kind of looks like Beast from Beauty and the Beast, which has a little bit of bestiality in it. And then Krampus fucks him in the face? I don't know, it's all really weird and sketchy. He fucks animals.
Okay, weirdo, get off the rock and talk about Krampus.
Krampus is the savior of this movie. You're really on a roller coaster ride from the beginning. It starts off strong, but it quickly slows down in pace. And just when you're about to walk out and you've had enough, the most interesting scene in the entire movie happens. You go to Krampus's place. He is Santa's brother in this. And when they get there, there's a whole bunch of monsters, a whole lot of practical effects, and they get into this weird fight called the Krampusschlap, which is kind of like those professional slap fighting videos you may have seen. And they're also celebrating Krampusnacht. The whole scene is hilarious and carries the rest of the movie all the way through. The character of Krampus and all the crazy creatures around him are really, really fun to see, and you can't help but have a huge smile on your face for the entire scene. The whole movie could have been about Krampus and his feud with his brother Santa. In fact, that should just be an entire movie on its own. I can't stress enough how this saves the entire movie.
The Krampus character is written so well that it makes you forgive everything that you watched leading up to that, which I was honestly starting to fall asleep at one point, but he's the savior of the movie. He's the savior at the end. Krampus is the single reason why we recommend this movie.
Let's seal the deal by giving it a score out of 10.
What do you give it?
So even though I don't recommend that you go to the theater to see this one, I'm still giving it a 7 out of 10. It just captured this magic for me that was completely unexpected. And I ended up leaving the theater having a really fun time. I also think in the long run, this movie has a high potential of becoming a cult classic. What do you think?
I'm going 4 out of 10. Despite me saying go to the theater, I recommend this movie. Objectively, if I view it as a standalone movie, it's too inconsistent with the writing, the acting. I got bored halfway through, as we mentioned. Krampus is the majority of why I like it, and I also really like Santa's sleigh in this one. But apart from that, as a movie, it's not that great. However, it's entertaining. It's an easy background movie. I think it'll be a Christmas classic. But hey, thanks for liking and subscribing. We're just two regular dudes doing regular reviews. I'm almost looking
Feels like a cash
I'm
grab. Like be down. Anything with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I'll say it like
feels
this.
like a
How about
cash grab
that? Does that work if I say it like
Yeah.
this? Okay.
I
You
did
did the
do it.
opposite of what we discussed.
I did. I'm sorry. You said do what feels right.
We're fucking
so
windshield
I did it.
wipers over here. Or do you have it
Yeah,
on
but
heat?
it's on heat. I guess we can.
Well, yeah, what the hell?
Well, it's cold outside.
I'm getting sweaty in here.
Okay. Well, you got a sweater on.
Oh, you should. It's
I'm
Christmas.
not sweaty.
Next, what's the next
You're
line?
the pointy guy.
It's
You do the
1:13 a.m. and we still have spoiler for a section.
I
to
know,
get through. What's the next? It's gonna be 3 a.m. by the time I get home. Fucking hell. Krampus is the single biggest reason why we recommend this movie. Shit.
That was very monotone. We're getting tired. We're getting tired.
Okay.
Getting tired. Getting tired.
Okay.
Getting tired.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Dwayne The Rock Johnson fuck